So you said that this week, quote, "A culture where the regulator is feared for its punitive actions rather than appreciated for its ability to provide clear and consistent guidelines is not conducive to positive outcomes." Your party, of course, supported increasing sanctions on beneficiaries in the midst of a recession, including cutting the benefits for...
So just to be clear, they're talking about the WorkSafe stuff. They don't want to be punitive with the WorkSafe stuff. So if anyone's unclear, that was the previous conversation. So the previous conversation has been about the WorkSafe changes and how Brooke Van Belden's been saying we don't need to be punitive. Punitive is not the way to go forward. That's what we've been talking about.
Supported increasing sanctions on beneficiaries
Of
in the midst of
beneficiaries.
a recession, including cutting the benefits for the parents of young children.
Sorry to interrupt. Can I ask one question? When did Q&A start doing these slow zooms? Like every single... but it's every time. It's like I just expect it to go swing, 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 swing. It's like this show. I've never seen it before, and they do these slow zooms on every... It's a bit weird, but look, sorry, we'll keep going.
Beneficiaries in the midst of a recession.
You like it? Right.
Including cutting the benefits for the parents of young children. You supported increasing...
I would support it if it went right into her eyes and picked up a bead of sweat going down her forehead.
That's happening, right? That's what we're going to get.
Okay.
Sanctions on some Kāinga Ora residents, including kicking some of them out of their homes. So
goal.
why does a punitive approach work for cracking down on poor people, but not for corporations?
Look, Jack, I just don't think you can try and compare any of these policies with each other.
Well, you can compare the philosophy behind the policy. So you're saying that sanctions and punitive actions don't work in getting good outcomes for corporations, but they do work when it comes to beneficiaries and Kāinga Ora residents.
Well, look, it comes down to what do you believe is the objective here? Letting people know what is the right thing to do.
How do you get a good outcome, right?
Yeah, if you think of the case of Kāinga Ora tenants, it's really clear what you should be doing, which is trying to live peacefully with your neighbours and not create a culture of fear around.
But that doesn't answer the question. Why do you need a punitive way of doing that to get the outcome? This is a brilliant question by Jack. You're saying it can't be punitive to get the outcome you want when it comes to WorkSafe, but it's okay to be punitive to get the result when it comes to poor people. It's a very, very good question.
Kāinga Ora developments. I don't want to get into that today because I'm actually here to talk about...
I know. We realise that. We can see the sweat. You don't want to get into it.
Kāinga Ora developments. I don't want to get into that today because I'm actually here to talk about health
and
safety.
I'm just looking at I understand. I'm just looking at the philosophy behind it, right? And so you're saying your whole thing, the kind of core of your argument is that punitive actions don't work when it comes to corporations and getting good outcomes for workplace health and safety. But apparently you have a different philosophy when it comes to poor people.
Well, look, has the being kind and trying to be very helpful up front with Kāinga Ora helped? No, it hasn't. So you do need to have the carrot.
Yeah, but what you're saying is being punitive hasn't worked for the work and safety. So it just doesn't matter if you're saying it that way. You're still saying that being kind hasn't worked, so we're going to be punitive. Or but being punitive hasn't worked, so we're going to be kind. You're saying the same thing, Brock.
In the stick.
Depending on how you look at the homelessness numbers, maybe it hasn't.
No, I think that's the whole point. There has been this culture of trying to be kind when it comes to enforcement within.
And the last thing this ACT party wants is for anyone to think they're being kind. That's the last thing.
There has been this culture of trying to be kind when it comes to enforcement within Kāinga Ora. That hasn't worked, so they've needed to go harder with the stick. And I think some of the numbers that have been coming out show that actually has been working. But if you look at WorkSafe and our regulator for health and safety, that's the opposite. What I've been hearing from business owners and from workers as well is...
Can I just say as well, we're not really looking at the workplace stuff very much tonight, but she keeps saying from business owners and from workers. I'll be careful with the use of my language. It is my honest held belief. I believe truthfully that she's lying. I believe she has spoken to business owners. I do not believe that there are workers out there going, oh, these regulations that my workplace has to follow to keep me safe, they're just too restrictive. I do not believe that to be the case. Let me put it this way. My bullshit nerve's gone off, Chewie. Fairly aggressively when she says business owners and workers want to get rid of all these conditions around keeping workers safe. I don't accept that, and until you show me the evidence, I will stick by my I don't believe you model, just personally.
Oh, yes, no, I as a worker, I was furious when my boss had to put a handrail around the industrial mincing machine in the middle of my workplace. It really slowed down my work rate.
And it sucked because that lead-based paint was so much more vibrant than the one that they forced them to use that wouldn't give me those chips to inhale. I much rather would have had the lead-based paint one because it was prettier colour. All right, keep going.
There should be a rule if they introduce an anecdote like this, like I've talked to parents, I've talked to workers. Produce them, produce their details.
Yep.
So that can be fact checked.
Yep. Agreed. Here we go.
Is that they fear the stick so much because they don't know where the carrot is.
Yeah.
They haven't been seeing it at all.
I think we all know where the carrot is.
The carrot's not having your workers fucking die.
I think from watching the last clip with David Seymour, we all know where the carrot is.
And I'll give you just one kind of example.
I'll come back to this point in a moment, but it is just kind of core to your philosophy. I mean, by the same argument, why, if sanctions are effective for beneficiaries, have we seen the unemployment rate increase since they were introduced?
Right, but I'm not here to talk about that.
Okay, let's talk about other things.
Away. But I'm not here. But I'm not here to talk about that, Chewie.
But Jack, my pre-planned talking points ran out.